Good morning, Chicago Cubs fans, and we are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. The Cubs get the series split with a beautiful another 3-0 win against the Cardinals. We're going to talk about a very hypothetical situation, but one that needs to be on our radar because we always need to make calls when players of this caliber potentially could be available, and we'll preview the Astros series right here on Cubs Daily. So before we get into all that, I just want to give you guys a big shout out, a big thank you for all the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. Let's keep that train rolling. I want to hear all your thoughts. What do you think the Cubs should do in the second half of the year to get us to the playoffs, to get us to the World Series? What kind of move could change the direction of this franchise and keep us going upwards? I want to hear it all. Drop them down in the comments below. But the Cubs get a 3-0 win yesterday against the St. Louis Cardinals. An absolutely dominating performance. Shota comes back on the mound. He had an 85 pitch limit and he got into the 6th inning, which is all you can ask for from the guy on his first start return from a injury. And he was gone for a little more than a month, and he did a fantastic job. The Cardinals, they couldn't do anything. They couldn't hit the ball soundly all game long. Very few runners got into scoring position, and the Cubs were able to take advantage with a Michael Busch home run and a couple more runs driven in after that. And that was all she wrote in this one. And then essentially this week, I don't want to say it meant nothing because it did mean something, but it just got us closer to the finish line, and the Cardinals truly didn't gain any ground on us. So that is always a positive to hear in this situation. The Cubs really turned it around, especially after the first two games. The first game they got blown out. The second game, a costly mistake, cost them the game. And then these next two games, they absolutely dominated the Cardinals, which is exactly what you want to see in this situation. And a big reason why the Cubs were able to win these last two games is because the pitching staff really turned it around in this one. The Cardinals did not score a run in the last 22 innings. The last 22 innings pitched against them, right? 9 yesterday, 9 the day before, and then I believe it was in the 5th inning of that game was where they scored that last 8th run. That was enough to give them the victory, but they haven't scored since. So it's absolutely wonderful to see the Cubs pitching staff, get back on track. Shota coming back has been absolutely massive. Ben Brown, hopefully he can figure it out down in AAA. But I think the roles are starting to align themselves, right? Shota is going to be the ace of this staff. We're going to have Jameson Taillon second. Boyd and Ray are going to be 3 and 4. I know Steele's hurt. Steele will plug right back into that number 2 spot when he comes back next year. And then that 5th spot is probably going to be a bullpen game for now until the Cubs trade for a starter. We have more rumors on the starters that are amplifying here in the Chicagoland area, so keep posted. The closer we get to the deadline, the more intense those rumors are going to become. But I think it's good to say that the Cubs pitching staff is capable of doing a great job in winning these ball games, these close ones especially. Because yesterday, 3-0, it sounds convincing. It looks convincing, right? Like the other team didn't score a run. 3-0, that could be scored within an inning very easily. One bad inning, and the Cubs could have lost that game. But they did a fantastic job pitching-wise, and were able to get the job done. Now, I'm bringing this one to you guys as a real hypothetical. It's definitely not going to happen this year. So, if this was going to potentially happen at all, it would happen next off season. But it's something you have to consider. It's something you have to think about, okay? When you're dealing with these markets, right? You got big markets that the Cubs are in. You got small markets, semi-small markets. You really have to think about how these teams keep coverage on their books. And I'm just posing it out there because he had a quote the other day, and it's something you got to think about, right? I think it's very unlikely the Cubs trade for him. I know it's nearly 0% chance that they trade for him during the season this year, because obviously the Tigers have the best record in baseball, and he's the leading head of that. So obviously the Tigers are going to give this season a run with him. They have a chance to win the World Series. They want to take that shot. Can't blame them whatsoever for that. But Tariq Skubal said this a day ago. It has nothing to do with me not wanting to be here. I hope that is clear. But there is a business side of this game that is not as beautiful as the baseball side of this game. That's just what it is. Now, that doesn't mean the Tigers aren't going to extend him. That doesn't mean they're not trying to extend him. But we've been in situations before where ownership might not want to pony up the cash, right? They ponied it up for Javier Baez. So I would imagine that they would try to sign Mr. Tariq Skubal. But Tariq is going to warrant a very, very large contract. He is just that good. He's been the best pitcher in baseball for 2 years now. I'm not sure if the Tigers are interested in giving him 300, 400 plus million to satisfy what he truly deserves. I'm not even sure if the Cubs traded for him. They would want to do that. But if the Tigers don't want to fork it over, they need to strongly consider trading him in this offseason. That's just the bottom line. He'll have 1 year left on his deal, 1 year left to control, and then he'll become a free agent. Now, trading for him doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get to re-sign him either, because I think when you're just this good at your job, you're going to want to test the market and see who is offering you the best deal. But it's something the Tigers definitely need to consider, because you can't let a guy like that walk away for nothing. Plain and simple. If they think there's an inkling he's going to leave, they need to trade him and get some form of asset. And the Cubs have one of the richest farm systems in the game, and I think this offseason it is something that's very possible that the Cubs could do. Tariq Skubal would be the perfect addition, not just to the Cubs, he'd be the perfect addition to any team. Any team could use a Tariq Skubal to solidify their pitching staff and bolster their front line. Obviously, if we were to trade for him, it would go Skubal, Shota, Justin Steele, Tyone, Boyd. Game, set, match. That's your 5. That's pretty legit. That would be a big problem. 3 left-handers, 4 left-handers as well. That would be really, really dynamic. Again, it's something that's not going to happen during the season this year, as the Tigers are really, really good. But it's something I want you to keep in the back of your mind and monitor the situation at hand. Are they getting closer on contract extensions? Is the relationship doing well? Those are the questions you have to think about. Tariq said he wants to be there, but I've never heard a player admit while they're on the team that they don't want to be there necessarily. So it's just something to think about and keep your eye on in the future. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a very low percentage chance. But if Tariq Skubal cannot reach that contract agreement, you've got to pick up the phone and make the call and see what the price is. So let's get on to the series here with the Astros. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cubs are going to Houston for 3 more games. We got Cade Horton on the bump in this one as we're facing Brandon Walter, the lefty, for the Houston Astros, who's been very solid all year. His last start, he got roughed up a little bit, but curious to see how the Cubs play off against him. They do not see him all too often, and the Astros have not seen Cade Horton all too often. So it could be a very low-scoring game, or it could be a ridiculously high-scoring game. I'm not sure which way it's going to go. But either way, Houston has been playing super well recently, so I think this is an absolutely fantastic litmus test for this Chicago Cubs team as they continue to figure out their consistent stretch again, because they've won the last 2 games. Let's win a couple more, right? Let's win another series. That's what this is truly all about here in the middle of June and heading into July. So that's going to do it for Cubs Daily. I appreciate every single one of you. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and comment down below your thoughts. I'll see you guys soon.